This is tutorial 6-2 in GIS tutorial workbook 2. In this exercise, we're going to learn how to map change in location and magnitude. The scenario is that a tornado has gone through the city of Oelander, and they want to know at what points was the highest intensity, the strongest winds. When we look at the map as it is right now, all the points are the same, and the line widths are all the same. So looking at this, it's hard to see really where the worst portion of the tornado was, where the worst damage was, and where overall bad conditions are. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into their tornado points, and we're going to change it to where intensity is shown. We're going to open up the attribute table first, and in here, this column, Frigiuta, is it's the scale used for tornado intensity. It ranges from 0 to 5, 0 being the weakest and 5 being the strongest. So this tornado ranged from a scale from 1 to 3. So we're going to open up properties. We're going to go to symbology, and we're going to work in quantities. And normally we do graduated colors, but in this case we're going to do graduated symbols. And we only have one option for values. I'm going to keep the 3 classes because there was only 3 levels of tornado, the 1, 2, and 3. But I'm going to change the scale. I'm going to go from 10 to 20. And I'm going to change the color to something more relevant to this. It's something bad that happened. Normally when you think bad, you think, red for danger. So I'm going to choose Tuscan red. And as you can see, here is, I believe, where, I'm not sure where it starts. It could either start where the 1 was and go up to a 3, 3, 3, then down to a 2 and 2, or it could have started as a 2 and gone up to a 3, then to a 1. I'm not really sure the direction in which it went. But now that that's done, we can go in and we can also show wind speed. And that's shown in the tornado path. So we're going to go look in the attribute table. And in here, we have a distance buffer and a wind speed. The buffer distance is how far the damage is at that point of intensity. So obviously where there's stronger winds, the buffer is going to be larger. So now we're going to go into symbology, go into quantities, graduated symbols, and we're going to use wind speed. And I'm going to choose a scale from 1 to 4 with a class of 4. And I'm going to choose a better color. I'm going to use Mars Red. And I'm just going to leave the numbers that they give me here. I'm not really sure how to classify the ranges for wind speed in relation to a tornado. But even using this scale, we can see that here was where it was weakest. Then it increased a little bit. Then it increased to the maximum range. Then started to decrease, and then decreased even further. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a buffer. And we're going to use that field buffer distance. So the book wants you to go to Windows, go to search, type in buffer. There's a shortcut. If you just go to geoprocessing, buffer is the first tool. Now for this, we're going to be using our tornado path, and we're going to have to come up with a name for it. I'm going to call it damage zone. They give you a name, tornado path underscore buffer. It's kind of long, and the program often crashes when you use a long name. Or it doesn't crash, but it'll fail the tool, and it doesn't really just tell you the reason is because the name's too long, so you're going in thinking something's wrong with the data when it's just really the name is too long. So I like to keep them relatively small. Now for distance, in the past, I've mainly just put a number in and given it units. But in this, we actually have a field that has the buffer distance. So we're just going to click on buffer distance as our field. We're going to have all dissolved because we don't want to have lines show up within our buffer. We want to make it just one giant buffer. And we're going to click OK and let the tool run. Okay, now we're going to make it a little bit more appealing to see. So we're going to change the color, change it to mango. And we're also going to make it transparent, about 50%. So now we can actually see the buildings underneath. Now we can get a total number of buildings affected easily by just going up to selection, select by location. We're going to use select features from building footprints. And you want to make sure the source layer is our buffer that we created. And mine was called damage zone. And we want to intersect the source layer feature. So any building footprint that is touching the buffer will be selected. And we are going to click OK. It's going to run its search. We're going to open up the attributes for our building footprints. And when you first open it up, you get all readings. So you want to click on the show selected records. And you can see if you go through, it'll show you all the different land use codes. And we have 2,045. So it would be a pain to sit here and count these. So we're going to go up to use code and we're going to summarize. We're going to make sure the first field is use code. We're going to leave 2 as is. You can give it a name and save location in 3, but make sure summarize on selected records only is checked. Then you just press OK. We're going to add it to our map. We're going to close that. And we're going to open up this file. And then here, they give us, they don't give us names of land use codes, they just give us a number for it. Single family is 1, multifamily is 2, 3 is commercial, and 5 is government. So as you can see, a vast majority of the damage was done to family homes. Now, if you had a address point layer, you could actually do a select by location and get a list of addresses for each building that might be damaged. This could be useful in getting out aid to people who need to rebuild, to make sure who to contact, see if they're okay. And that's it for this tutorial.